This is it for the day. It's absolutely impossible for this Samsung Galaxy phone to process as much data that spins through the vortex in my heart and the neurotransmitters through this cell phone. It's impossible. Okay, so that's why this cell phone is junk technology to me, because it's a poor communicator. There's no way it can communicate to the rest of the cosmos everything that I'm sending to the entire cosmos, how much love and light I have through my neurotransmitters, which is in my heart, because that's a powerful magnet and a powerful vortex. Okay, this cell phone doesn't run that. Okay, so it's a poor communication platform. Okay, so I was thinking of some things a little while ago, because I love to run calculations, because there's a big math pencil head in me, even though it becomes tedious, if you will, or time intensive to do these things. So I was very fortunate when I was very young you have your own calculator built in, right? And for me, believe it or not, it's the heart. The heart is the calculator, the vortex, all the data that you're spinning that you become aware of. When you're running an enormous amount of light, you're running an enormous amount of data. So you value taking all the data, and you can mathematically quantify it, because that's what I was doing as a child. I was quantifying not only all the data that is held in memory, but how all that data that is held in memory represents future proofs past memory module programming, in which to collapse a timeline. And that's called time vectoring. So I thought, for all you math heads out there that love to run calculations, aside from the Maxwell equations, here's one you might want to run. It's called, well, aside the fact that I said, why do the demons run a mass assembly line of neurotoxins? Neurotoxins. Toxins. Toxic to the neurotransmitters. Fuck up all your data. Corrupt all your data. Okay, so we have the moment of inception, the source from which everything comes, right? Is there a source? Is there a single point, a single geometric point in which all love and all light come? I used to think to myself when I was a child, love doesn't work backwards in time when there's no time. There's only what love is, which is real. So I thought to myself, the moment of inception began with what? Love is in living spirit. So if you want to run a mathematical calculation, here's one I thought of. How is it possible that every single unit of consciousness that represents all the densities that has or ever will be has never experienced what light is, which is what love is, at the moment of inception? Try running that calculation. Okay? I did. So anyway, I went on to think about a couple other things that I felt were important, because I do love Robert David Steele and a lot of concepts that he has when it comes to sort of a word that he came up with, I guess, but it's, it's like, when did that word get invented? Okay? That's why you can't own all the data, okay? It's like, who came first? Remember that with, who were those comedians? Who's on first? What's on second? Who's on third? That was one of the funniest things that talks about future proofs past. Data sets, program data, operating system data. Data transfer speed throughout all neurotransmitters in the entire cosmic network of massless consciousness with zero charge. No charge. 0 point. So how do you know you're running a clean program? Original data. How do you know you're not running a corrupted program? Changing the data. How do you change the data? So I'll give you an example. This girl that I met, I mentioned her before, which is Misha, over on the island of Oahu. This is a woman that is O negative, so I know that her bloodline genetics has some, most likely, Anunnaki or Draco, which is reptilian, because I know from having spent an awful lot of time with her how she thinks, how she feels, what's important to her, and I read her energy. Basically, her timeline data that represents the timeline she's on. And so I began to picture in my mind what was possible. So this is like the future her, that I could see how powerful her spirit was in the light. But in order to reach what I perceived in the future, what is possible for her, which is what she was seeking. That's why she grabbed me and asked me if I could help her. So what we're really talking about, for example, when I was with her one day when she was with another girlfriend, and she kept talking about and thinking about things that represent energy that she's experiencing that does not serve her, in which she's going in reverse, which means instead of attracting more light and going faster, she's losing light and going slower. She's going in reverse. So I asked her, I said, you realize that you're running on data, or you're running on information that is held in memory as a result of what you've experienced, that you're now essentially, as a result of that, doing things that don't serve you because you're draining your own battery, girl. And why are you doing that to yourself? So if you're going to ask me to be an advisor, I'm going to put the mirror up, because I'm going to show you what I'm observing, why you're doing what you're doing that doesn't serve you. So if you want to understand how to clean out the file cabinet, it means you got to dissolve those experiences that you've held in memory that create the electrical resistance that you're still holding on to, that prevent your circuits from being able to experience a lot of hotter fire to open up that light in your heart. Power up the neurotransmitters in your heart. So she would tell me the next day, every day it seems like I got another layer of cold rock around my heart. And so when she told me that, I thought, no, girl. Oh my God. So she had 3 identities. And she'd been through an enormous amount of sexual, physical, and emotional trauma